So you've bought a house. Now you get to go and visit it a couple of times before you actually close on your deal. Let's say, for example, you as a buyer, you go and you make an offer on a house, the offer gets accepted, you remove your conditions, you have now bought that house and it's just awaiting the closing date. So sometimes buyers are like, hey, I want to go and see the property, and your agent, if they're diligent, they're going to be putting in a couple of clauses in there talking about a walkthrough of the property, which means basically you get to go and visit the property 2 times, 3 times before the closing of the actual transaction. Now, what do buyers use this walkthrough for? Well, most of the time they're going through there to show a family member, show, friends, do measurements of the property. There may be, needing to buy appliances. If the house doesn't come with them, they need to get measurements for it. Maybe kind of an area rug, furniture, visualize how the house is supposed to look. Or maybe it's just the excitement of going back to look at the house again. Whatever the reason is, ensure that you're actually using your walkthroughs properly. So while you're there, your agent is probably going to be walking around the house, doing a little bit of a inspection, so to speak. They're probably going to be testing the appliances, testing the heating, the cooling. They're going to be testing the taps, opening the windows to make sure they open and close without issue. They're going to be testing the garage door. They're going to be, things around the house, testing the lights, the electrical throughout the house. They're going to be ensuring that the home is in the same state and standard in which you originally bought the house. Because the last thing that you want to do as a buyer is move into the house and discover all of these issues. Now, the other thing is, that's just a regular walkthrough. A final walkthrough is usually taking place the day before closing, or worst case scenario, the morning of closing. And keep one thing in mind. If you're doing your walkthrough on the morning of your closing date, make sure to tell your lawyer that you're doing your final walkthrough in the morning and not to close the deal until you've completed the walkthrough. It is important because you may do your final walkthrough and realize that something has come up in the house that you didn't expect, or the seller accidentally has taken something that you assumed would be staying with the house, and the seller assumed it would be removed. So you want to be able to get all of that figured out prior to your deal closing. Plus, in your earlier walkthrough, if you did identify any issues that came up, maybe the garage door wasn't functioning, this is your opportunity to make sure that the garage door is now functioning the way that it should be, that the fireplace is working, the heating and cooling, whatever it is that you discovered at the initial walkthrough has been remedied. Now, keep in mind one thing. When you submit your offer, you are aware of any potential defects. The walkthrough is just to ensure that nothing further has taken place, any additional defects, because when you made your offer to purchase was already, taken into consideration whatever defects or maintenance issues that you've already openly seen or the inspector identified. The walkthrough is just to make sure that nothing else has happened, that you're still buying the property in the same state as when you made your offer. And the final walkthrough is just to ensure, again, same thing, but if there was anything identified up front, that this is your last chance to fix it. Because what would happen is, once a deal closes, if you don't want to discover a problem then. In many cases, most sellers are good people. They're going to be like, hey, you know what? I didn't realize that the thermostat broke down. I didn't realize that the Ring camera was supposed to stay, and they return it, or they will credit you or compensate you in some way, shape, or fashion. But in other cases, sellers, they may move out of the country, or it may just end up in a dispute. And you as a buyer may end up just sucking up the costs for something that you expected to come with the house. So make sure that you're prudent up front, that you've identified the issues, the defects, everything that's supposed to stay with the house, and that on the day of closing, it goes completely smooth. I hope that helps. See you guys.